This is Power Lines, the show that pulls back the curtain on how power really works. Your hosts are Robbie and Terry, both 15. Every week they break down who really runs things and how regular people can push back.
Welcome back to Power Lines, the show that pulls back the curtain on how power really works. I'm Terry.
And I'm Robbie, and today we're asking the big question, who actually runs the country?
Like, is it the president, Congress? Some guy in a basement with a spreadsheet?
Possibly the spreadsheet guy. But let's start with the official answer. The federal government has 3 branches.
Legislative, executive, judicial. Congress makes the laws. The president enforces them. Courts decide if they're legit.
Simple, clean, civics class perfect. Except reality is a little messier.
A little, Robbie, there are about 2 million federal employees who aren't elected by anyone.
Right, the bureaucracy. Career officials who stay through multiple presidents and actually implement policy day to day.
So the president sets the direction, but the agency staff decide how fast the car actually moves.
And sometimes whether the car moves at all. Ever heard of regulatory capture?
That's when the industries being regulated end up influencing the regulators more than the public does.
Happens more than you'd think. The revolving door between government jobs and industry jobs spins pretty constantly.
Okay, but what about Congress? 535 people writing the actual laws?
Fun fact, most members of Congress rely heavily on their staff to read and draft legislation.
So staffers, who also aren't elected, have real influence over what ends up in a bill.
And then there are lobbyists. There are roughly 12,000 registered federal lobbyists in Washington.
12,000 people whose entire job is persuading lawmakers to see things their client's way.
That's more than 20 lobbyists for every single member of Congress.
Which sounds wild, but lobbying is technically protected speech. It's petitioning the government.
The question is whether everyone's petition gets heard equally, and spoiler, it doesn't.
Money in politics is its own whole universe. After a court ruling in 2010, outside spending exploded.
We're talking billions of dollars in election cycles now, from corporations, unions, and wealthy individuals.
And that money doesn't come without expectations, even if those expectations are never officially written down.
So, is it all hopeless? Is democracy just a costume party where money wears the president mask?
Not entirely. There are real countervailing forces. Courts strike down laws, journalists expose scandals.
Whistleblowers leak documents, advocacy groups organize, and voters still actually vote people out of office.
Voter turnout in presidential elections hovers around 60% of eligible voters, huge room to grow.
Every one of those voters is technically a tiny piece of the answer to who runs the country.
Then there's the Federal Reserve, which controls interest rates and isn't directly controlled by Congress or the president.
The Fed chair is appointed, but the institution is designed to be independent from political pressure.
Which some people love, keeps economics out of electoral panic. Other people hate, no direct accountability.
And we haven't even mentioned media, which shapes what voters think is important in the first place.
Agenda-setting power if the news doesn't cover a problem. Voters don't pressure politicians to fix it.
So the real answer to who runs the country is a messy, overlapping web of institutions and individuals.
Elected officials, career staff, courts, lobbyists, donors, journalists, and ultimately all of us at least a little.
The system was actually designed to be complicated, so no single person could grab total control.
The founders call it separation of powers and checks and balances, frustrating by design.
Whether it's working the way they intended is a debate for every generation, including ours.
Which honestly is kind of the point. Every generation has to show up and fight for it.
Power Lines doesn't tell you what to think, just helps you see where to look.
Thanks for listening. Stay curious, stay sharp, and ask who benefits whenever someone tells you how things have to be.
See you next week on Power Lines.